got a few areas to cover, and I'll start off with something that is very current, even more current than the old firm game. There was a press release that came out yesterday from the Scottish Biometrics Commissioner. You've seen that. So I think there's a couple of questions in this, probably for yourself, Chief Constable, and then Mr. Rennick, because there's a question for the Scottish Government in this. So the basic thrust of what the Biometrics Commissioner was saying is that Police Scotland doesn't routinely take fingerprints of everyone that's arrested, and that means that, and I'm paraphrasing here, that people can slip through the net. During a 3-month period, there were just over 3,000 cases where an officially accused person was arrested but didn't have their prints taken. So the Commissioner, and that's Dr. Brian Plastow, was very, very firm in this, and he produced a report on this, very, very clear that this needs to change. Over 12 months, in fact, over 12 months, he says, Police Scotland custody staff might be failing to fingerprint more than 12,000 people with officially accused status, including those arrested for serious crimes and offences. I mean, do you accept the point, Chief Constable?
I do accept the point, and I was aware, obviously, that the Commission was going to make that recommendation, and he's absolutely right. Everybody who comes into custody should be having all of their biometrics taken, regardless of whether they already exist on the various databases, and we need to put a stronger level of governance and grip around that to ensure that that takes place.
So why isn't it taking place?
Some issues in relation to resourcing and a need for additional investment around resourcing to ensure that that can happen on every single occasion. We're working through a piece of work at the moment to determine what both our custody provision looks like across the country and what the right level of resourcing needs to take place in order to ensure that we close that significant issue and at the same time have an estate and a staffing model, a resourcing model that's fit for the future in terms of the demands on custody.
So is it actual Police Scotland policy not to fingerprint everyone, or is it just that you don't have the resources to do it?
I think the policy should be firmer, and at times the resourcing levels means that people who have already been fingerprinted are, whether they're released from custody or whether they're going to court, are not fingerprinted while they're there, and that shouldn't happen.
So the policy needs to change.
Yeah, and the governance and grip.
Right. Is that your responsibility to change the policy?
It is.
Right. So are you going to do that? Absolutely. When are you going to do it?
Well, we had a draft of that of the report, so we're working on that.
Okay. There was another element to the report. Well, it is about fingerprints. It said in England and Wales, frontline police officers were using mobile fingerprint technology that allows them to use smartphones to identify people in less than a minute, saving police time and resources. Sounds like a good thing. It notes that at UK level, the Home Office has a biometric strategy and has provided funding for biometric projects, including the creation of a new national centre for AI for England and Wales, 50 live facial recognition vans, and a project that was helping speed up fingerprint processing. And Dr. Plastow says, and I'm quoting him, by contrast, and this is a question for you, Mr. Rennick, by contrast, the Scottish Government does not have a biometric strategy for Scotland, and accordingly there is no multi-year capital allocation to Police Scotland or the Scottish Police Authority, Mr Hay, to support a devolved vision where enhanced biometric capabilities could improve community safety in Scotland. Having such a strategy for Scotland would seem a sensible approach. It would seem a sensible approach, wouldn't it?
As we would do with any independent report, we will consider the recommendations, and part of the purpose of having the Biometrics Commissioner is to assist us in suggesting areas where we can look at and engage with Police Scotland and the SPA and other agencies in looking at that, and we will do so following those recommendations. We do not tie what the capital allocation that we provide to Police Scotland to particular commitments. Those are decisions that the SPA and Police Scotland will take, looking at the overall levels of capital funding that we provide them. But if there are indications of evidence of lessons that we can learn from other parts of the UK, whether that's changes in terms of policy at national level or areas of investment, those are the sorts of issues that we would speak to the Police Scotland and the SPA. Dawn, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to ask.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would add is that in England and Wales, there's, I think, 43 police forces. In Scotland, we've got one. So one of the reasons I think the Home Office has taken particular ownership of the biometric strategy in England and Wales is to provide a kind of national approach. So, there's a question in Scotland as, where that sits in terms of government and police and who's best to make, those strategic decisions around biometrics. But as Neil says, the reason we created the Biometrics Commissioner was to precisely to, give advice and ideas for how we can improve in this area.
Well, you can't wash your hands of it, Mr McGilvray. You can't. That's just not acceptable. His criticism is we don't even have a biometrics strategy. And you don't. So surely we should have one. Irrespective of whether there's one police force or 43, that's irrelevant. There needs to be a strategy.
Yeah. And as Neil said, we will obviously look at that recommendation and take that forward.
You got any view on that, Chief Constable?
Thank you. I was going to talk specifically in relation to the points that you've referenced there. So the roadside capability to take somebody's fingerprints is part of the National Law Enforcement Data System, which is the replacement for the Police National Computer. So we're part of that programme, and in due course, we will be able, if we decide and we have the right funding and we prioritise that to access that technology. So we're part of that programme. You talked there about the AI approach in England and Wales. That's been funded by the Home Office. We're in discussions with the team down there as to how we can collaborate. We've got some of those capabilities within Police Scotland. We've built a data science team, so I think we can contribute to that broader UK effort in relation to use of AI in law enforcement. And in relation to live facial recognition, we are looking at the capability and the investment that would be required. I personally and professionally think the tool is very effective, but there are differing views in terms of intrusion and privacy, and those conversations are ongoing in relation to balancing the rights of individuals and their privacy with the need and the desire to want to identify those who have committed crimes and cause harm.
I mean, I'm a bit of a fan of cop shows on telly, right. And there was one recently I was watching where there was one of the police forces in England was trying to track somebody, so they had, hundreds of pieces of CCTV, and they used AI to actually track someone. It was quite amazing. So that saved hours of time, and they actually managed, using AI, to find somebody. That's where it could be used, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But any new technology that impacts on individual citizens needs to be managed and consulted on appropriately to ensure that we uphold individual rights, and it can explain how it's going